If you want to level up in life, in your career, in your financial abundance, it all starts with one thing most people overlook. That's your beliefs. Brené Brown, which is a world-renowned researcher, best-selling author, and has a famous TED Talk called The Power of Vulnerability, uncovered something super powerful in her years studying people who had endured some of life's most difficult challenges. She wanted to know what separated those who had felt a deep sense of love and belonging compared to someone who constantly struggles from that. And her research uncovered something so profound, yet so simple, it will stop you in your track. And based on her famous TED Talk, which I'm about to read, she stated that there was only one variable that separated those people who had a strong sense of love and belonging compared to those people who really struggle for it. The difference was the people who had a strong sense of love and belonging believed they were worthy of love and belonging. That's it. They believed they were worthy. Success isn't just about hitting a specific number, achieving a specific goal, or checking off a list of habits. It's about having the mindset that says, I believe I am capable. Deep down, if you don't believe that you can actually do the thing, then you are not going to follow through. Our beliefs shape our thoughts shape our emotions shape our decisions and actions, and our actions shape our habits. So if we can just cut to the core of it, which is our beliefs and what we truly believe is possible, then that is going to be our fuel to level up. So today I am going to share 9 core beliefs and habits that you can adopt in order to level up. Number 1 is to have a goal and get very clear on that goal. Let's be honest, most people don't actually know what they want. A few years ago, I sat around a group of friends and it was right before New Year's, and I'm like this big goal-getter person, and I'm like, let's go around the circle and everybody tell me what your goal is for the new year. I think there was about 5 of us, and nobody knew what they wanted. Nobody had a goal. Nobody knew what they wanted. And if it was like, I want to make more money. And that is what is so common with most of us, is that yes, we have dreams and we have like ideas that we want, but we don't actually have goals, much less write those goals down. Knowing exactly what you want is the foundation of achieving it. Did you know that you are 42% more likely to achieve your goals if you just write them down? I had a video go out on my main channel, and I simply just asked the question, how many years have you been married? Our anniversary is coming up. So I just said, leave me a comment and let me know how many years you've been married. And I started getting comments like 15 years, 20 years, 17 years. And after all of these big numbers, the majority of people had followed up and said, wow, I know that we've been married for 20 years, but actually seeing it written down makes it feel like a long time, like an accomplishment. Whenever you write down your goals, it gives it a different meaning. Even if it had always been true before, something about seeing it and visualizing it gives it that different perspective. And that's where a lot of us fail when we are thinking about goals. I like to think whenever you're writing down your goals, think about it like writing out a contract, and how that contract has a different meaning than just simply saying it out loud. Typically, you're writing down something that hasn't yet happened yet, but when you see it on paper, you're kind of like, wow, now we are actually going to be serious about this. So I know that it can also be scary. I deal with contracts all the time. I deal with a lot of brands, and within that, we have to have a lot of contracts going back and forth. And I had a brand come to me, and it was about mirrors. And I was thinking like, man, I really do want those mirrors. That would be a goal of mine, but I don't know exactly how I am going to put it together. I don't know if I need to hire an electrician to get the lights on the mirror hooked up. I don't know if I have enough time. And a lot of times whenever you make these agreements, whenever they ship the product, you have to have the video ready within a certain amount of days. So I'm thinking, I don't know if I can have it ready within the 7-day period or however long it was to get everything ready. But I'm like, man, if I got those mirrors, they would look amazing in my bathroom. So I decided to say yes. We went ahead and wrote down the contract. And once that happened, I had to put some pieces together. I didn't exactly know how everything was going to pan out. I didn't know how long it was going to take to get. I didn't know how difficult it was going to be to accomplish. All I knew is that I had to take one step at a time to meet that contract. So think of your goals as like setting a contract for yourself. You don't know exactly how you are going to get there yet, but when you see it on paper, it is the first step that you can do to leveling up. Now, the second habit that you need to adopt in order to level up might sound a little bit strange, but it is talk to yourself daily in the quiet without interruption. Now, I know that might sound a little strange at first, but let me explain. Most people go their entire lives never actually hearing themselves think. They are so busy consuming everyone else's noise, scrolling, social media, watching things, listening to things, that they never actually pause long enough to notice the voice that matters the most. If you don't spend quiet time talking to yourself, then you will live by default instead of by design. And the reason why it is so important to hear yourself think is to bring awareness to your thoughts. Awareness is one of the first things that you need to level up because you cannot change what you're not aware of. So in order to become aware of your thought, I would encourage you to start paying attention to sentences that you're telling yourself that start with I am. Do you often talk to yourself like, I am lazy, or I'm not motivated, or I'm not that confident? Let me tell you this, you cannot be a leveled up person if you still think and act like you did with the old version of yourself. Most people will set a goal, like I want to make more money, I want to do all these things, but then their internal thoughts keep telling them, I'm broke, I'm not confident enough to do that, I'm not good enough to do that. Who am I to do that? She's doing it better than me. What do I have to offer? Or money is hard to make. And what starts happening is that you literally start repelling the thing that it is you want most based on your internal beliefs and the way that you talk to yourself. You may not even notice that you talk to yourself this way or that you have these beliefs. This is why sitting with yourself quietly, listening, and becoming aware of the way that you talk to yourself is so important. When you do start talking to yourself and becoming aware of your thoughts, then you start recognizing the thoughts that are disempowering you and the thoughts that are empowering you. And this will give you the opportunity to make the choice to change the way you think and choose a more empowered thought. Now, when I started this second channel, which this is a very early video in my second channel, I struggled a lot with confidence and self-worth because I don't typically do these talking head videos. I would think to myself, okay, I'm confident enough to be on YouTube, but am I confident enough to speak freely and openly like I am now? Do I even have enough self-worth to talk on these videos? Am I even good enough to do this? So it has always been a goal, but those beliefs and those disempowered thoughts are what kept me from taking action on my goals. So when I kind of took the time to step back, to talk to myself a bit and become aware of the types of thoughts that were really disempowering my goals, then it allowed me to make a different choice. So take, for example, something we all struggle with is I'm not confident enough. So when I started to break that down, I would say the way that confidence is built is actually a result of actions. So I would start changing my thoughts, changing my beliefs that instead of thinking I'm not confident, it's like, I just need more practice. So with that belief, it allowed me to take action and actually start the second channel. So I want you to take some quiet time to talk to yourself today and recognize the way that you talk to yourself. If you have disempowered thoughts around your goals, around the things that you want to accomplish, I want you to make the choice to choose a more empowered thought. This is going to be an ongoing practice, but that's why it is a habit that I want you to adopt daily in order to level up. Number 3 is that I want you to get into the habit of auditing your outside influences. Did you know that most of our beliefs are either inherited, absorbed, or shaped by outside influences, especially early on? We unconsciously absorb beliefs from our parents, our neighbors, our teachers, our caregivers, our cultural traditions. And let me give you some examples. When you were growing up, did your parents ever say, sorry, you can't have that, money doesn't grow on trees, or money is hard to make, you're gonna have to work really, really hard for that? A lot of times our belief about success and self-worth develop in our early childhood. Another thing is that social media, education, and culture narratives will often tell us what normal and what success looks like and what roles we should or shouldn't play. So oftentimes in school, getting an A or a 100 in class meant that you were successful. You successfully passed the test. You're an A student, high five. And what I find really funny is that a study found that the average college GPA of American millionaires was around 2.9 out of a 4.0 scale. This shows that super high grades in school, or a lot of times what we were taught what success looks like, is not a clear predictor of entrepreneurial success. We often start creating these beliefs around what is normal for our society. And this is where a lot of that comparison can creep in. So I want you to start auditing your outside influences and start determining if they're still true for you. Not only are we going to audit the influences that were around our upbringing, I want you to start auditing the influences that you have around your life now. If you can, get super curious and start challenging those beliefs. For me, as I started becoming more and more aware of my thoughts and of my beliefs, I always thought that I had to do everything myself. I had to carry the weight of the world on my shoulders. That is just what I have to do in order to survive or in order to get it all right. When in reality, all that belief did was cause a lot of distrust for other people around me. And when you don't have trust, it is very, very hard to level up in your business and your life if you can't start delegating some of the things that are causing you to feel overwhelmed and overworked. So I want you to go back to auditing your outside influences and deciding, do these beliefs empower me or do they disempower me? Are they really my beliefs, or were these beliefs inherited from some of my outside influences? Your current influences, you can start asking, what am I currently listening to? What am I currently watching on TV? Who am I currently following on social media? Who am I comparing myself to on social media or even in my community? Is this serving me or is it not serving me? Is this consuming all of my energy? Is it taking over my mind? And what is instilling beliefs within me? And do I believe those? Right? There's no right or wrong answer. This is all about how these beliefs are going to help you level up. Because when you want to level up, you don't have time for all of the outside bullshit. So begin to audit your influences every single day and ask, is this serving me or is this disempowering me? And then you can make the choice of what you need to leave behind in order to make space for the new version of you and what you need to level up. Number 4 is to befriend failure and get into the habit of failing. The thing is, when you're in the habit of failing, you're also in the habit of trying. And when you're in the habit of trying, you're in the habit of believing that there's still hope. Now, most people who want to level up and hit their next goal fall into one of these 3 categories. The first one is the dreamers. The dreamers are the people who have a goal, they want to level up, they want to take the next step, but they're too scared to take the leap. Fear of failure keeps them frozen, so they never actually take action. The second group of people are the quitters. They try once, they fall flat, and they decide that it's not worth trying again. They let the failure define their potential. And the third group is the resilient. This group is the so-called overnight successors. But the truth about this group is that they have actually failed multiple times. However, they learned from their mistakes and kept moving forward. Failure didn't stop them, it shaped them. So the difference between the three isn't talent or luck or knowledge. It's the relationship that they have built with failure, with their own failure. If you can see failure as feedback instead of it being the final thing, then you are already setting yourself apart from most people. I have personally tried so many things when trying to start a side business. I had a full-time job, but something was always calling me to do something else and make a little bit of extra money. I started off getting really into fitness, and I wanted to become a personal trainer and help people live a more healthier life. And I went and I took the classes, I took the test, I got personal training certified. And then when it came to actually selling and enrolling clients, I was frozen. I couldn't do it. I just thought, okay, I don't know if I can actually help people. So I'm just going to kind of set this to the side and pretend like I didn't even do it. But it didn't stop there. I knew that I had to try again, but I was going to try something else. So then I started thinking about doing real estate. I loved home decor. In fact, my whole other channel is about home decor and home and cleaning and organizing and stuff around the home. And I started watching all of those fixer-upper channels. So I thought, I'm going to become a real estate investor and I'm going to buy houses and flip the houses. And I went to a workshop. I got all of this information about how to do it. And then when it came down to it, I was like, I'm not going to do it. I can't do it. I was really stuck in the dreamer phase. And then I had a friend who started blogging, and I'm like, what the heck is blogging? How do you turn this into a business? So I had stopped the real estate thing. I didn't go too far with it, but I knew I was going to try again. I'm going to start some sort of side business. I just don't know what that looks like. So then I started blogging, and I would get some feedback, but I then felt like, I don't know if I can do this blogging thing. I don't know if I can really put myself out there and be seen. And I started noticing a pattern in all of the things I tried. Yet I knew I didn't want to quit. I didn't want to fail, as you could say. So I decided that I needed to pivot. And it wasn't until COVID hit that I started a YouTube channel. And at that point, I was at a point where I was thinking, what else can I lose? So I started a YouTube channel, and within 4 months of starting that channel, I had hit a viral video. I had hit my 1,000 subscribers fairly quickly as a YouTuber, and I had made an extra $1,000 that month. And that was the 4th month I had started YouTube. And $1,000 extra a month was life-changing at the time for me. So what a lot of people saw was that, wow, you just started and then you just did it and you knew what to do and you're so lucky and you are like a unicorn that you grew that fast and started making that much money that quickly. And the truth is that I had been starting and stopping and starting and stopping so many other things before that they didn't see how much work I had put in on the back end. So which category are you choosing to be in? Number 5 is to practice gratitude daily. Neuroscience shows that gratitude activates the brain's reward system and builds new pathways for optimism and resilience. This helps you approach challenges with more energy and more possibilities. Let's be honest, when we are leveling up, we are often experiencing things and challenges that we haven't done before, and there's a lot of uncertainty that comes with that. When we are uncertain of an outcome, our brain will typically go into fear mode because our brains are wired to keep us safe. So if you are quitting a job that you don't like in order to build your own business, there can be a lot of uncertainty on what the outcome is going to be of that. And with a lot of uncertainty, we can often question our decisions like, is that really a good idea or not? But when we tend to focus on gratitude, especially on something that we haven't accomplished yet or we are uncertain of, it can remind you of your progress and it can keep you from falling into comparison and lack. Feeling grateful can put you in a state of abundance, which fuels creativity, confidence, and the drive to keep moving forward instead of focusing on fear and uncertainty. Now, if you do a gratitude journal, I know that a lot of times people will tend to write the same things down. I used to do this every morning, and I would wake up in the morning and be like, I'm thankful for my family. I'm thankful for my friends. I'm thankful for my home. And every day I'd be like, okay, I'm writing the same things down. So what's the point of it? So one thing to help with that is I decided to, instead of writing down everything that I'm grateful for in the morning, was to write down everything I'm grateful for at night. Because at night, you can go through the day and pinpoint specific times in the day where you were grateful of that occurrence. With my daughter, we lay in bed every single night and we say our prayers. What I used to do was, I felt like in our prayers, we would always be asking for something like, Lord, give us guidance. Please protect us. Please keep us safe. Please give us strength. And it was always like, I'm asking for something that I don't have. I'm asking for something that I feel lack of. And when I started realizing that, I started changing the way that I approached the prayer. And we would start off by saying not only things we were thankful for, but things that I used to think I was lacking. So instead of saying, please give me guidance, I would rephrase it to say, thank you for giving me guidance and please continue to guide me. After daily practice, it really started to change the way that I viewed how things were coming to me and viewed what I felt lack of. We would stop focusing on everything that we need and started to realize that it's really always been there. All right, so habit number 6, and let me tell you, this one changed my life, is to stop taking everything so personal. I had to really learn this the hard way whenever I started to put myself out there and get on social media, which was one of my biggest fears to begin with, was kind of being seen. Whenever I started to put myself out there on social media and YouTube, especially on my main channel, I didn't expect for some of my videos to go viral as fast as they did. And although I was very happy, what started happening was I was getting all of these, I guess you could call them opinions that differed from mine. And not even opinions, they were just comments that weren't the nicest. Like, your house looks disgusting. You're a hoarder. You have so many clothes. You need Dave Ramsey because you clearly don't know how to spend money, or you overspend, or something like that. And I had to, in order to stay resilient, I had to really think about why I was taking these things so personal, even if I didn't even believe that they were true, or even when I knew that they weren't true. We all have this where someone didn't return a phone call, or we didn't get invited to a birthday party we wanted to, or so-and-so said this to us. And we constantly focus on me. Even though we don't want to, it's just our nature to be like, what did I do wrong? What is wrong with me? Oh, they don't like me. Oh, they're, saying mean things about me. When I stopped taking things so personal, I really started to realize that it actually didn't have anything to do with me. It had everything to do with them. And when you start leveling up, you're going to realize that not everyone is going to agree with you. So most of the time, what people say has nothing to do with you, and it has everything to do with the reflection of themselves. Their stress, their fears, their insecurity, their self-beliefs. Yet we tend to carry those words like heavy weights, like it defines who we are. When you stop taking everything so personally, you reclaim your power. Instead of reacting, pause and think, is this really about me, or is this really about them? This question can create space for peace, clarity, and freedom. Remember, your worth isn't up for debate. Other people's opinions don't write your story. The moment you stop internalizing everything, you become lighter, freer, and unstoppable. So when I get a lot of questionable opinions or comments about me, I really stop and think, is this really about me? Or is someone else projecting their insecurities onto me? And most of the time, it really has nothing to do with me. And I had to build that sense of confidence to understand that if I am going to step into a leveled up version of myself, then I have to realize what to take personal and what not to take personal. All right, number 7 is the 1% rule. What does that mean? That means grow 1% each day. Compounded actions are what leads to long-term success. The 1% rule is about consistency, not about perfection. Most people think that they need to make massive changes overnight in order to see results, but sadly, that's just marketers promising you overnight success when that's not really how it works most of the time. Lasting growth happens through small actions done consistently over a long period of time. Think of it like a bank account. Little deposits you make each day build long-term interest, whether in your health, your career, your relationships, or your mindset. 1% each day might not look like a lot, but compounded over a year, that is 37 times better than you were the previous year. That's really the trick, how people build extraordinary lives. Not from one giant leap, but from consistent tiny steps that snowball. All right, so how do we do this? Well, first, let's pick one area to focus on. You can even revert back to your goals on this one. Don't try to improve everything at once. Choose one area in your life where you feel stuck and you want to grow. Is this in your fitness? Is this in your mindset, your relationships, your career? Focus on that one thing. And then next, I want you to define what that 1% looks like. So if it's fitness, is it adding 5 more minutes of your workout each day? Is it swapping out 1 soda for water each day? If it's your mindset, are you writing down the things that you're grateful for each day? Are you choosing one negative thought, or let's say one unempowered thought, and switching that to a more empowered thought? If it's in your career, are you sending out that one email or taking that next step? If it's in your finances, how much extra a day can you save up? I know that I did sign up for that. It's called like Keep the Change. And every time you make a purchase, whatever change is left over, whether it's like 5 cents or 30 cents, it goes straight to your savings account. And I signed up for that a couple of years ago. And I realized that after, it was probably 3 years, I have a specific savings account that I don't touch. And after like a 3-year period, it had already grown to like $8,000, or maybe it was like 4 years. So I had enough for my baby savings account, according to Dave Ramsey. So yes, I took his class. For the person who had made that comment on my other channel that I need Dave Ramsey, I did take his class. And it just shows the effect of how a little bit over time can make some big changes. Next, I want you to track your wins and celebrate them. Sometimes every single day, it doesn't seem like much, but if we look back in 3 months, we can actually see how far that we've come. I want you to start celebrating your wins as if it were a birthday or an anniversary, and realize how far you've come. Lastly is to focus on consistency over intensity. Stop chasing perfection. Missing one day does not erase all of the progress that you've made. The key is to start stacking small wins until they become automatic habits. I just put this video together on discipline, and I feel like will be very helpful for those of you who need it to stay on track. So I'm going to link that video in the description box below. And number 8, which is the final thing to level up, is to prioritize your energy, your health, your sleep, your movement. This all matters. High energy creates momentum. After 10 years of childhood depression and being on antidepressants throughout my childhood and teen years, the way that I weaned myself off of medication, I didn't know it at the time, was by going to the gym every day, or I don't know, 3 to 5 times a week. Literally, exercise is what got me off meds. And this is my personal story. I'm not saying that that is the way that everyone will get off meds, but really focusing on my energy, which includes my health, my sleep, and my movement, it became a daily mind clearer and also a lifesaver for me. All right, so if you are ready to start pulling these strategies into action, but want some extra support to make it stick, then I would love to help. For a limited time, you can apply for a free discovery call / coaching session with me, where we will take all of these tools and apply them directly in your life. So you can break the old pattern, build unstoppable momentum, and finally move forward with confidence. So to apply, just click on the link in my description box below. If you enjoyed this video, then I would also love for you to subscribe to this channel. I have so much more insights, content to provide to you, and I am so excited that you're here. But anyway, I will see you in my next video.